I've got a list of questions about my following week, my week at work and in my free time. So the first question is, are there any projects at work that need extra focus this week? Well, I think that this week I have some new projects coming up, so I'll need to read what they entail first. I imagine that I'll need to call some people on the phone, send emails, so I'll have to do a little research first. And it depends if they're new clients or existing ones. For new clients, I'll learn about what the company does, the name of the contact, and have a look at their social media platforms just to check how they work and what they do, really. The next question, what's one thing that you want to learn or read about this week? Well, I've been staying away from a lot of social media recently, so maybe I should take a few hours to catch up on the world news and see what's been happening. I found that it's been a bit of a distraction over the last few weeks or so I made an effort not to keep scrolling through news stories, whether they're local or global. But I think every so often you need to get in touch with reality again and just keep up to date with what's happening in the world. The next question. How do you plan to manage your screen time or distractions? Well, as I said, the last week or so I've tried to stay away from my phone during work breaks and while eating breakfast, because it is a distraction. And that's all it is, because you find yourself looking at some maybe local topics, but then in the end, a lot of it is cats and dogs and donkeys doing funny things. And it's really not necessary to know about all these things before you go to work. So what I've been doing is moving my phone away from me while I'm eating breakfast or lunch, so that I'm not so tempted to just keep scrolling through silly stories. Also, television can be a distraction. There's a lot of sort of rubbish TV on these days, so I try to be more selective in what I'm watching. Or another way of doing it is to watch things that are streaming online, and then you can dedicate 1 hour or 30 minutes to watching them, and you're not tempted to watch the next program because it's probably something you're not interested in. Next question. Is there anyone you need to call, email or follow up with? Yeah, because we're coming to the end of the month, so I think it's good to tie up all loose ends, make sure all projects are absolutely finished. I think that everything is virtually finished, but I'll have a look back on my work and see if any of my tasks could do with one more phone call or an email just to tie things up. Also, I could send emails to see if the customers were happy with the work that I've been doing, depending on the customer and depending on my relationship with them. Next question. What financial tasks like paying bills or budgeting are on your list? Well, as I said before, we're starting a new month. So generally at the end of the month, I would look through and pay any outstanding bills. But I don't have many. Apart from the normal household bills of gas, electric, etc., then I haven't got many other bills. I don't have a credit card. So there aren't any other monthly bills that really come in. And then we've got the new year coming up, so it's really good to have everything clear before we start 2026. I do like to budget for the following month's shopping, like food shopping. So whenever we go to the supermarket, we keep the receipts and we write down on our whiteboard and keep a tally of what we're spending. It's not so that we cut back at all, but we have to keep an eye on price increases, and maybe it would make us think about buying cakes or sweets or not. We generally spend the same amount every month, whether we're trying to watch the budget or not. But it's good to see how much our weekly shop is or our monthly shop, so we're not going over budget. I would say that we would spend under £200 per month on food shopping. But it depends on the time of year and the price of vegetables and things like that. Coming up to Christmas, a lot of supermarkets have vegetables for 8p per kilo to help families to save money in the run up to Christmas. So obviously this month, then, if we're eating a lot of vegetables, it should be a lot cheaper. So I would expect our food bill and our monthly food bill to reflect that. Next question. Do you have any events or activities planned? Well, there's quite a few Christmas markets in the towns around where we live, so we might visit some of those. And they seem to be all on a Saturday evening, so we'll have to see which ones we go to. There will be carol concerts and Christmas fairs and more events than normal in this run up to Christmas, so we're looking forward to that. There might also be a pantomime on at the local theatre. Pantomime is like a play in the theatres, but it's a comedy play and there's a lot of audience interaction, and it can be very, very funny, and you're allowed to shout out things to the actors. So sometimes there's a ghost and it comes behind the lead character and everybody shouts, "It's behind you, it's behind you." And a lot of these pantomimes are just as much fun for adults as they are for children. It's very, very good. So we will try to find one of those. Next question. How will you measure whether this week was productive or successful? Well, I write a lot of lists. I write lists for work. I write lists for housework and craft activities that I'm going to do. At the start of the week, I will write the relevant lists, and as I complete each task, I will cross it off. And I find this very comforting, and it means like a day like Monday, when you might not get as much work done, you look at your list and you can cross off as many things as you can, which will ease the workload for the rest of the week. So for me personally, a list and crossing it off, the physical list, is very important and very satisfactory. Some people use lists that are online, which are okay, and you tick off the box when you've done the activity. But for me, an old-fashioned pen and paper list. Penultimate question. What potential challenges do you foresee, and how can you prepare for them? I don't think there will be any particular work challenges in the future. Not unless I was to lose my job. And if that happened, then I always make sure I've got enough money saved so that it wouldn't be a problem for me not to work for 1 or 2 months. Personal challenges, I think the only thing would be if I got sick and couldn't work for a week or so. So I really maintain a healthy diet and try to exercise and go for a walk every day. And I recently had the flu vaccine, so that keeps me protected from catching colds and flu, hopefully, when we go out and about for walks. I think all you can do is to live a healthy life and not to worry about the future too much, but have a backup amount of money for just in case something unforeseen does happen. So finally, what's something you're looking forward to most this week? Well, in the next week, I've got a lot less workload than I anticipated. So I think that I'll have about 3 hours free during this week. And I really plan to make the most of those. I will do some Christmas crafting, listen to music, maybe read a book. And the important thing is to not waste this time scrolling on my phone and looking at cats and dogs and donkeys, etc. on Instagram.